Okay. Good morning, everyone. So, as we mentioned yesterday, regarding today's current affairs topics, today we will be discussing about the tech solution that we are trying to say with respect to that Aarogya Setu app. So, like the whole why the app has to come and what kind of requirements we need for that. Do we have any challenges with that, especially some of them are raising concerns about its privacy. So these things we'll be discussing. At the same time, what next? So what should we do in the coming days ahead? So all these things we'll be discussing in today's class. So if you see, with the rising number of cases, when we declared the COVID-19 as pandemic, we came up with different preventive measures because we haven't yet come up with any final curative measure. Most probably the final curative measure should be coming up with a vaccine, but we haven't yet come up with any vaccine. So mostly we are going for the preventive measures so that the disease will not spread to more number of people and we will not see any increasing number of deaths. So for that, we tried multiple preventive measures, though some of these measures have a very very strong future consequences. Suppose, for example, if you see the present lockdown, see it's having a very huge impact on the country's economy in the coming days ahead. And we banned the travel and we came up with the social distancing measures. So all these measures we are trying and we tried and we are trying and still we are coming up with new preventive measures like declaring clusters, they coming up with these hotspots and the stringent law and order measures like going for section 144, 188. So government is unleashing all its weapons to fight against this COVID-19 pandemic. But still, unfortunately, the number of cases are getting raised, and even in the coming days ahead, also because we haven't yet fully tested. So in the coming days ahead, the number of cases may increase, and even we are predicting like the cases may even cross 40,000, and the highest number of cases we may find in the state of Maharashtra. So in this context, like can we think of a tech solution to that? So can we think of a tech alternative to find some kind of a better solution to find out the number of to give some kind of strength to the government? So one of the biggest challenge the government is facing right now, the biggest challenge is tracing. In the previous class also once we discussed the 3T formula, the 3T method model of South Korea: trace, test, and treatment. Because when you have to test the individual and subsequent to treatment, the first and foremost thing is identifying the individual. Who is the individual who got affected with it? If you are not able to find out which individuals are getting affected, then how can you go for the testing? And how can you go for the treatment? So the biggest challenge in front of the administration right now is tracing the individuals. So this tracing is becoming a challenge for us right now. So to this tracing, so right now we are using a tech solution. So this tech solution came by the government, by the government itself in the name of the Aarogya Setu app. So in that context, you should understand what exactly is Aarogya Setu app. Then you can make a heading Aarogya Setu app. Then we will be discussing about it. What exactly this app, what it contains. So what are the requirements for it? What are its concerns? What needs to be done in the coming days ahead? So this we will be discussing in a structured format. So then first, once you made the heading, See the first one. This Aarogya Setu app consisting of three components. The Aarogya Setu app is consisting of three components. What are these three components? The first component is self-assessment test. The first component, self-assessment test. And the second component is alerts and advices. The second component, alerting the people and giving advices to the people. And the third component, and the most important component, because this particular component ultimately giving the substance. So this component is contact tracing. So if you want, I'm writing here self-assessment test, alerts and advisors, contact tracing. Total three components. So now let us discuss the component by component first. Then now in that, the first one, self-assessment test. So what exactly the self-assessment test? So once you install this particular app, either from Google Play Store or from Apple Store, after installation, first it will be asking certain requirements. Suppose, for example, initially it will be taking your locational data, contacts. So first it will be asking your health details. So in the self-assessment, first it will be asking the health detail. That means your health history. Health history means what? Suppose, for example, do you have any cough or cold, or do you have any kind of chronic diseases? So what's your health status? So that will be asking at first. Then it will be asking about your what we call is that contact history. So like it will, you have to give permission to your contact history. Then third one is your travel history. So your health, contacts and travel history. So after giving this information to that particular Aarogya Setu app, then the app will process this information. Then accordingly, it will come up with the report. So in that report, we have three colors. What are those three colors? Green, amber, and red. Total three colors: green color, amber, and red. So green indicates that you are safe, you are not at risk. Amber indicates you have to maintain certain precautions. And the third, at risk, indicates that you have to go and report to the local health official. So green indicates means you are not at risk. It does not mean that you should go out and you should do whatever you want to do. Green indicates you should maintain hygiene so that in the coming days ahead also you will not be impacted with this particular disease. In the case of amber, it indicates you should go for self-quarantine. Amber indicates self-quarantine because some individuals, because of their weak immune system, or might be because they're suffering from the chronic health diseases. So with that, for these individuals, it may be very easy to get impacted by this disease. So amber indicates you should go for the self-quarantine. And the third one is at risk. So at risk indicates that you have to be admitted to the hospital and you have to go for the checking process. So in this way, the self-assessment test will happen. At the same time, it will be also asking about your, suppose for example, like who you are. Are you a traveler? Are you a health official? Are you a delivery executive? Who you are? So that they will be coming to know your nature. That means, are you staying at home right now? Because some of the individuals, suppose for example, government officials Government officials now, even we all are being locked at our homes, still our government officials are going and working. They are, some of them even 24/7 they are on work. So without taking much of holidays. So red indicates at risk. Third color is red. It indicates at risk. That means you have to go and report to the hospital, nearby hospital, because you have more chance of getting tested positive with it, because you are at risk of your health. At the same time, because of you, it may spread to other individuals also. So that's why at risk indicates you have to go and admit to the nearby hospital. So in the self-assessment, see the components, see the kind of things they're doing. They will be asking the health details of you, your contact details, and your health recent travel history. Along with that, they will be asking the category. That means who you are right now. Are you traveling? Suppose, for example, certain individuals are still going and doing the work, like health workers. Health workers are going every day right now, and we have this law and order administrative officials, like we have the police administration and we have certain district officials. Okay, and at the same time, certain individuals are providing delivery services to us. So, like that's why you have to give a detail about who you are in the self-assessment. What are all these tells about means? They will tell us about your risk. Green indicates what? Understood that. So in the first component, these are kind of things will be tested. So once the first component over, then in the second component, what the government will be doing is like it will be providing alerts and advices. Suppose, for example, if you are under the self quarantine, what kind of things you have to follow? If you are in hygiene condition, but still, what kind of things you have to follow in the coming days ahead? So, irrespective of your health status, government will keep on provide. Suppose, for example, it will provide some common alerts. Along with that, if you are in green and amber zone, then government will provide some specific alerts. Because if I am being self quarantined, then I need to be a bit more careful comparing with the individual who is in the green zone. Because if the individual who is in the green, if this individual is more hygiene and having an immune system strong comparing with the individual who is in the amber category. Once if you come to the red category, there is no option. You have to go and admit to the nearby hospital. All right. Next, then the second one is we discussed like alerts and advices according to the kind of individuals, whether you are in green or amber or red. Government will provide specific alerts. At the same time, it will issue some common advices to all the individuals who install the Aarogya Setu app. This is the second component. Okay, then comes the third component. This is the most important component: contact tracing. So after discussing all the three components, then we'll be coming to the privacy concerns. What may happen? Is it really safe or not? Because there are a lot of rumors that are being spread. If we install this app, what will happen? If we do not install this app, what will happen in the coming days ahead? These things we'll be discussing once the third component is over. Right. Then the third component. The third component, because this is a bit technical, how they can know about person's immune system. The way, suppose for example, if the individual is a chronic diabetic, so then definitely the individual's immune system will be weak comparing with the individuals who does not have any what you call chronic diseases. If any individuals who are suffering from the chronic disease, then definitely they will come to know. Aarogya Setu app does not come and test you. On the basis of the details given by you, it will test. All right. So the third one, contract tracing. Contract tracing is a bit technical because here we are using the technological component to that. So that's why maintain bit attention to understand this particular component. So these questions will be you will get an answer once you just wait. First, listen to the third component. For all these questions, first wait. That's what I'm saying. First listen, then you will understand. Third, contact tracing. See, This contract tracing is not a kind of new thing we included in the Aarogya Setu app. Contract tracing concept is there since so many years. Suppose, for example, for the diseases like we have this TB, tuberculosis, and we have measles. So for TB, for measles, so for these things, we are already using the contract tracing method because these are the contagious diseases. These are the communicable diseases. They will spread from one individual to another individual in a very swift manner. So that's why here what is contract tracing means? In simple terms, contract tracing means if any individual who got infected with a communicable disease, then first this individual will be interviewed. So the concerned doctor or the local officials will be interviewing this particular individual. What are the places you visited recently? With whom you met recently? So in this way, the contract tracing method actually works because it's a communicable disease. So first, what the government officials or the health officials will be doing is like interviewing this individual, thereby finding out to whom this individual met recently, what are the places this individual visited recently. This is what, in general, the contract tracing method will be doing. But in this case, because say in this particular case, in the Aarogya Setu app, the contract tracing method is using a technological component. So because it is using the technological component, so we have certain challenges. Why, first of all, why the technology has to be used in the Aarogya Setu app? See, if I am the individual, I am visiting, suppose for example, I'm visiting different places. In morning, I will be traveling in a public transport. It can be a public bus. I will be coming across multiple. Suppose, for example, I will go to a local vegetable market. There, I will be purchasing some vegetables. While purchasing vegetables, I will come in contact with multiple people. So, to whom I came in contact with in a given day, how many people I can remember? Do you think I can remember all? Do you think I can remember all the people I met in a given day? Definitely no. The individuals whom I know better, for those individuals I can remember, but I don't remember all the individuals whom I came across in a particular day. Definitely no. But this particular corona disease is a viral. Suppose, for example, I travel in a bus. I am next to one individual. This individual is positive. He tested positive. But he also doesn't know because this coronavirus, the infection, even if you have this infection, it will take some time to show its symptoms. So I travel with this individual. I never seen this individual, and I never remembered him. But this individual got corona positive because it's a highly communicable disease. So because this particular disease is highly communicable, the individual's memory is not that much strong to remember each and every aspect to come across. So with this reason, here technology will come in hand to give some kind of solution to trace the context. Understood that? So here comes the technological aspect. So how this technological aspect works? See now. Before that, before this contact tracing works, first the requirement is like both the individuals. Suppose, for example, I am one individual, there is another individual. Suppose consider that this pen is another individual. This pen is another individual, I am one individual. So this individual should also install the app first. I should also install the app. We both must install the app. This is the first requirement. The first requirement here, you can take down these points. The first requirement is this individual and me. We both should install the app. Second requirement, we both should switch on the Bluetooth and location services. The GPS and Bluetooth in both the phones should be switched on. Suppose, for example, this individual is also holding the phone, smartphone. I am also holding the smartphone. So we both should switch on Bluetooth and the location services. And third, this individual's mobile phone and my mobile phone, both should be using the same platform. So it means it also using the Android platform. My phone also should be of the Android platform. Or this phone is of Apple platform, iPhone 1, iPhone category, or my phone is also of the iPhone category. If that happens, if these three requirement fulfills, that means installation of the app, having the second requirement of switching on the location and the Bluetooth services, and the third one is having the same platform, then listen to this point carefully. When this individual comes in contact with me within the 15 feet distance, don't you guys think I won't be answering all these questions? Just listen first. First listen to the class, then you can raise the questions. Every question can be answered. So once this individual comes in contact with me, at least within the 15 feet distance, then if this individual comes near to me, immediately what will happen? I might not remember. I might not know who this individual is. But once this individual comes near to me within 15 feet, then what will happen? There will be an exchange of what this, there is a technical word here. Remember this word, key beacons. So there will be an exchange of key beacons. So key beacons means here one key will be exchanged from this individual's phone to my phone and from my phone to this individual's phone. Understood that? So then this information will be saved in Aarogya Setu app only. Remember this point. This will not be stored in the servers. This will be stored in the Aarogya Setu app, but only the information will be monitored by the cloud servers. The servers will be monitoring this. So once this information is traceed, that means the key will be exchanged between this individual to me and mine to this individual. Then over. So like this, how many people I met in a given day? How many people I met in a given day? All these people, if they have they all should have the Aarogya Setu app. I also should have the Aarogya Setu app. So at the same time, they all switched on their location and Bluetooth services. I also switched on. This phone or this individual's phone also Android, my phone also Android. Then how many people I come across with? Then when I'm going like this, though I don't know this individual, I pass through this individual. Then immediately what will happen? There will be an exchange of keys from my phone to this individual's phone and this individual's phone to my phone. Then suppose one individual whom I met, the individual, suppose for example, individual A and individual B, two individuals. Individual A met individual B. So this individual B, after 2 days, individual B tested positive for the coronavirus. So this is individual B. This individual B tested positive for the coronavirus. Then what will happen? Because listen to this point very carefully. This individual tested positively for the coronavirus. Then this individual's Aarogya Setu app will be taken by the government. After taking this individual's Aarogya Setu app data, then how many persons this individual came across recently, especially in the past 14 days. In the past 14 days, with how many individuals this particular individual come across, they will take the whole list. Then they will try to trace all the contacts and they will be sending alerts. They will be sending alerts that the so-and-so individual you met recently, the so-and-so individuals you met recently tested positive. It's better for you also come and go for the testing. Understood this particular point here? Because this individual tested positive, Then because this individual's Aarogya Setu app containing all the contact tracings, then by using the servers, the government will be sending the alert to this individual. That's why I told you the second point, alerting. Alert to this individual. See, the person you came across in two days back or 3 days back tested positive for coronavirus. Now it is for you to go for the testing, because we don't know, you also may be infected with this individual. So first go for the testing. Understood that? So in this way, we will be tracing the individuals. That's why this concept is called as contact tracing. Here we are taking the help of the what we call technology. Then we have multiple questions after that will arise, that I will be answering. First, try to understand the definition of contact tracing. How contact tracing happens with the help of the technology. That once you are clear, with contact tracing with the help of technology, then we will be dealing with the rest of the aspects. What are its challenges? How the data will be saved? Each and every aspect will be discussed. So I hope the definition of contact tracing is clear. Individual A, individual B. Whenever these two individuals come across, if these two individuals are having the Aarogya Setu app, then there will be exchange of the keys and it will be stored in the individuals for 30 days. Remember this point. Once this information comes, it will be stored for 30 days in the individual. If you are not tested positive, then after 30 days, remember this point, if you are not tested positive, after 30 days, the data will be taken off from your Aarogya Setu app. All your contact tracing data. That means how many individuals you came across will be deleted after 30 days when you did not get any alert of positive symptoms within 30 days. So this is about the requirements about 30 days. So in the 30 days, the data will be stored in the Aarogya Setu app only. So most of us thinking like the data will be taken by the government. Government will not take the data. Government will only get the data once you are tested positive. Then by using this data, government will be giving alerts to the other individuals. Then only government will be getting the data. So your data will be stored in your app only. And after 30 days, if you're not tested positive, then automatically the data will be the locational data and the Bluetooth related contact tracing data will be deleted from the Aarogya Setu app. So this is about contact tracing. Then what are the challenges? So what are the challenges with respect to this particular contact tracing? As we discussed, first point, this particular app, this particular Aarogya Setu app, especially in this one, it will be working only in the same platform. If both are having the same platform, then only it will be working. Second point, this individual I came across, this individual is also having the Aarogya Setu app, but this individual did not switch on the location services. He did not switch on the location services and did not switch on the Bluetooth. Then then the keys will not be exchanged. Okay. Third, this is most important one. Sometimes the individuals, because especially most of the people, they think like, okay, government asked me, then I will be installing. But they might not be. Most of the people think like, okay, government might be getting my whole health related data. So that's why I will be giving wrong information. If we people think that government will be using all our information and government will be getting all my health details, then definitely in the coming days ahead, we have to face more number of challenges, because if we are able to provide genuine information to the app, then the app will, because at the end of the day, what is this app? This is just a technical tool. It is not to test whether the information is the correct information or the false information. It is only just provides a technical tool, because there is an algorithm that is prepared. If the so and so individual is suffering from so and so disease, This is the kind of challenges this individual will face. Accordingly, the individual has to take some kind of precautions. So, if we provide genuine information with respect to our health, with respect to our travel history and context, then only this particular app will be giving the correct assessment. So, if you provide false information or misrepresentation of data, if there is a misrepresentation of data, then this app will not be giving the correct output. Then it won't be of a good for the individual also. So that's why the most important criteria is giving the genuine details of the individual. So it's about contact tracing and how it works. Right. Then come to the next one. What are the kind of privacy concerns with respect to Aarogya Setu app? There are people who are saying that, like, that's what we're saying right now. Our data will be taken, and the government may use the government may store this data. The government may store this data, so we will be at risk in the coming days ahead. So these all concerns are fine, okay, but listen one point carefully. As of now, this app is this particular Aarogya the app is voluntary. It is not mandatory. Just think of a hypothetical situation. God forbid it should not happen. Even for the upcoming days ahead, also, we haven't yet come up with any vaccine. Think of it. We haven't yet come up with any vaccine. And for a country like India, the size of the population is very huge. And next one, the kind of disease, this particular corona pandemic is highly contagious. So we are trying, because how long we will go for lockdown? How long we will go for the social distancing? How long we will be costing our economy? So we have to lift the lockdowns. So that's why government recently coming up with the idea of e-pass. E-pass, that means if you want to be travel from one place to another place, you must install the Aarogya Setu app. In the Aarogya Setu app, as per the, suppose if you give the details, because the details should be genuine, because if you don't give the genuine details, later if you come across the with the if you tested positive, then government also may come up with a strict government it may come up with further strict action against the individual. So government is trying for this idea also, e-pass. That means if you want to go from one place to another place, e-pass will be issued to you. How this e-pass will be issued? E-pass will be issued on the basis of the Aarogya Setu details. Okay, see, there are privacy concerns. Privacy concerns means what will they do with my data? But here the government is mentioning one point very clear. See, the contracted the individuals with whom you made in contact with recently, this data will not be shared with anyone. First point. Suppose, for example, consider I am the individual who tested positive. I installed the Aarogya Setu app. All my details got fulfilled. All the details got filled, and on the basis of the given symptoms in the Aarogya Setu app, I got the red. That means I will be at the risk. So immediately I will be reporting to the concerned local health officials. Then the local health official will be testing me. In the test also, they got to know that I tested positive. Once if I tested positive, then what will happen? These health officials will use my Aarogya Setu data. Then while using this data also, they will not take my name, they will not take my personal information, they will not touch into who am I, what's my name. They will only trace my contacts. While sending alert to that individual also, they will not say that this particular individual with whom you came into contact recently, that's why you check. They will not say these things. That's why we don't need to worry much about our privacy. Even if I tested positive, when the government is using my Aarogya Setu app data, government will be using this data as anonymous. That means this data there will be an anonymous alert will be sent to the other individual, but it will not say that because you met that individual, that's why you got corona positive. Government will not say, because if that is happening, if that happens, that creates chaos. Then there will be quarrel. Then there will be ultimate chaos in the country. So government will not take that much of. Government cannot bear such a big cost. So this much we are very much for sure. So there will be anonymous sharing of data. At the same time, getting of this data is very crucial for our own sake. For our own sake, this information, we have to provide genuine information. At the same time, for our own sake, we have to install the app. The biggest problem is, if the Aarogya Setu app has to be really effective, at least 50% of the country's population has to install it. As of now, I think it just crossed the 3 crore. So the app has to be installed by more than 50% of the country's population, so that the contact tracing can be better in the coming days ahead. So though we think of privacy concerns, but here there is one privacy concern. What is that? Though after 30 days, if I tested negative, the data is being deleted from my Aarogya Setu app. That data still being stored in the servers. Still, the government did not mention when the data will be deleted. But why the government still storing this data? Because for the next coming 1 year or something, like how this eventually turns out, how this corona pandemic eventually turns out, nobody knows. I think including God. So with this reason, we are, even the government also does not have much clarity. That's the reason the government might be using this information, might be storing this information. That means it's only using contact tracings, because in the coming days ahead, unfortunately, if the individual has to come across any other individual who got tested positive, then this may be useful. So that's the reason government is using only that anonymous information. Even while sending information, also government is not disclosing your details. See here, we think of South Korea as a very vibrant democracy. South Korean contact tracing has become such an intrusive. It even using the credit card details. They even used the credit card details of the individuals. They went into deep of the individual's privacy to go for contact tracing. Fortunately, in the case of India, right now, we are trying mostly the democratic means without violating much of the individual's privacy concerns. So as of now, we are trying. If the individuals, because in the recent past, there are certain individuals, nonsensical individuals who are spreading rumors. This will happen, that will happen, because they are not understanding the pain we may face in the coming days ahead. If we do not cooperate with the government, if we do not disclose the correct details to the government, in the coming days ahead, this pandemic may turn out to be one of the greatest disasters. So nobody wants these things to happen. So that's why, if there is any symptoms happens, the government is announcing, but mostly because when the population size is very huge, we have a chance of spreading of rumors also equally. So that's why, without fearing much about what will happen to the privacy, because mostly the privacy is guarded. Yes, there will be technical glitches, because when the app comes for the first time, it is being used, that too in a country like India, where the digital literacy is not really strong. The digital literacy is not strong, and people are not much aware of this digital related information. Definitely, there will be a kind of fear that will be there in the individual's mind. That is there for sure. But we have to create the awareness. Then only these kind of initiatives will be working, because we discussed the individual's memory is not such a strong to remember each and everything. Once we open the lockdown, once we stop this lockdown, once we come back to normalcy, then if there is no vaccine yet, what we should do? Shall we be staying at home throughout the year? Throughout the life? We can't stay. If everybody stays at home throughout the year, where we get the food? Because if there is no economic activity, so how we can survive? So definitely in the coming days ahead, though the population size is more, unlike the America and the rest of the countries, still our economy also has to run. As of now, we are facing huge losses. But how long we will face these losses? If these losses has to be reduced, economy has to open. So in the coming days, if the economy, when they open the economy, when they stops the lockdown, when they lifts it, then definitely government will come up with some stringent measures. Already China already did this. China, what do you know what the China is doing right now? Factory to house. Once you come to the factory, there one testing will happen to you. Again, when you go back to home, there one more testing will be happening to you. They keep on testing the individuals. Any day, if you find positive, take this individual to the hospital. Until this thing happens, because we haven't yet come up with any vaccine. So this kind of preventive measure is very much important. In the coming days ahead, if Aarogya Setu, by using this local Bluetooth and GPS is not working, government is even planning to use for mobile towers, mobile tower data, because whenever the individual comes across one mobile tower, your data will be stored here. Because if you have the mobile phone with you, when you come across one mobile tower, this information will be stored. This information will be given to the mobile tower, because the signal will change. So government is even planning to go for the mobile towers and Wi-Fi. That is the next advanced stages. But before doing all these things, government is actually planning for strict implementation of this app, so that genuine cases will be coming up. We can trace the cases, because if the population size is more, tracing is a very big challenge. On one side, in the coming days also, we already identified the hotspots. So these hotspots will be taken care of. Along with that, we will provide some ease to the individual to move from one place to another place. But to move, government is planning for this e-pass concept. This e-pass also will be issued on the basis of your Aarogya Setu app data. Yes. Now let us come to the rest of the things. Right now, this Aarogya Setu app data is only for the. I think till this point everything is clear. Till this point everything is clear. I hope. Now let us come across to the challenges. Does this mean that Aarogya Setu is a final? It's a panacea. Aarogya Setu is not a panacea. Aarogya Setu also got its limitations. Aarogya Setu also got its limitations. Like the first limitation, if the individual is using basic phone, difficult. In the case of India, still the average number of people who are using internet is just only 400 million. Still, not many people has to use the mobile phones, smartphones. So still majority of the people are not using the smartphones. But here there is a good thing also. Most of the people who are not using smartphones are in villages. In the spread of this disease is more in the cities. Because the spread is more in the cities, and the spread in the villages, and the number of people who are using basic phones is more in the villages. So in this way, Aarogya Setu will be working fine, even if the number of internet users are less. In cities, on an average, most of the people, they are using the smartphones. Even in the coming days, the developers of Aarogya Setu, the NIC, the National Informatics Center of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So the developers of this app even trying to come up with Aarogya Setu even for the basic phones also, the featured phones. Even for the featured phones also, they are planning for the Aarogya Setu. So that is their trying, because the app came just a few days back, some around 15 to 20 days back. So they are coming up with the next models. So meanwhile, first they started, because Android platform is the biggest platform, Apple is the second biggest platform. So that's why first they are trying with these two platforms. Then they will going for the feature phone platforms also. And you have to take this information also. Now, Google and Apple from the month of May onwards, they started coming up with a cooperation. What they use the word comprehensive solution to COVID-19 disease. This is the word they named. So, what is this comprehensive solution to the COVID-19 disease? Google, Apple, they both coming together, they both cooperating with each other. Then onwards, in the coming days ahead, if you come across these two, suppose this is the Android, this is the Apple phone, this is the Android phone. Because cooperating with each other from the month of May onwards, even if the Apple phone comes near to the Android phone, then also there will be exchange of the key beacons. The key beacons will be exchanged between the Android user and even the Apple user. So this is what the government is trying that, and they are coming up with one more thing. Like I told you, they're planning for this mobile tower data and the Wi-Fi data. This is the second point they are planning for. And third, as of now, the Aarogya Setu is voluntary. As of now, the Aarogya Setu is voluntary. If still we are not able to contain the disease, then in the coming days ahead, it may become mandatory. Because individuals are not cooperating with the government, if individuals are not installing and clearly giving their details, at the end of the day, whom the government will be working for? At the end of the day, the government will be working for the people. If people are not cooperating with the government, and the pandemic is keep on increasing, then definitely it will be creating a challenge. Then the government may have to come up with a stricter implementation of these kind of measures, because this contact tracing may provide a useful preventive solution to the government. Because if in the coming days, if the vaccine is not coming, there is no other alternative that is available, because we have to go for the tracing. First you should trace, then you will go for the testing. Okay, we will be getting the lakhs of testing kits, but to do this, first I need to trace the individuals, because to test 1.3 billion population, we don't have that much big health infrastructure. We don't have that much of money in the exchequer. That too, it's not a thing like within a day these things can be done. In movies, anything can happen. In small countries, these kind of things, there is a possibility. America is testing heavily right now, because what's the size of American population? American population size is around 30 crores, 34, 35 crores. And second, size of economy, size of technology. Still, America is facing a lot many challenges. Think of India. See the population. See the public health infrastructure. So in these things, in the coming days, we may have to come up with we may become more stricter. So we may make things more mandatory. So we may use more of law and order machinery. We may use more, because we want to control this disease, because nobody wants to see the repetition of the earlier the historical things, right? Nobody wants the repetition of Spanish flu. Nobody wants the repetition of the plague. Nobody wants the repetition of these kind of communicable diseases that took place in our history. So we don't want to lose further our individuals' lives. So that's why in the coming days ahead, the government may come up with some stringent measures. As of now, it is trying to cooperate. It is trying to come up with some measures, because this pandemic is it is spreading. We are not finding any solution. So that's why. So this is some basic information with respect to Aarogya Setu. So ultimately, what we're trying to say, see the bottom line. In a democracy, we will say these things. Democracy, definitely, we have to fight for our right to privacy. But there is a freedom, and there should be restriction also. Right to privacy is of utmost priority. Our individual details should not be disclosed. So there, if the government is really doing these things, even during these crisis situations, nobody will spare this present government. This much is for sure. So in the coming days ahead, once the pandemic is completely clear, so we will be, when the government declares that we are completely safe now, then we can definitely question the government. We can question the government regarding how this data should be used from now onwards. So if the government is not listening to us, we have the Supreme Court. In India, if the government doesn't work, if the government is not working properly, the Supreme Court make it to work. So we have a lot many instances of it. Take the case of right to privacy. Right to privacy is a fundamental right now. So we no need to worry much about the right to privacy fears, because now we are in the crisis situation. So in this crisis situation, we should be uniting with the government. We should be uniting with the health officials. We should be uniting with all the governmental machinery. The civil society, private individuals, everybody should come and cooperate with the government. Until that happens, if we think that things are very easy for us, in the 21st century, for the first time, for Generation Y and Generation Z people, we are the people for the first time we are seeing this kind of pandemic. Till date, we haven't yet seen. So how this eventually turns out, also we haven't yet got any clarity. So the cooperation of the citizen with the government and government with the citizen is the only way to do. Then only we can control this pandemic. In the coming days ahead, we can survive our democracy. We can continue. We can survive our democracy. Our democracy will not be survived. Tomorrow, the government will definitely come up with the dictates. Government will say, "You are not doing this. What should I do? Should I allow people to die? I won't. Please do this. If you don't do, I will send you to jail. Or I will come with some restrictions on you." So government may have to come. So why we have to give this chance to the government? So let us, what the government is instructing to us during the crisis times, let us pay attention to that. Let us try to understand it. I'm not saying that what the government is saying, blindly follow it. Let us try to understand it. So that's why yesterday when I did a detailed research about this Aarogya Setu. Okay, to what extent it is fine, to what extent it is wrong. Yes, there are privacy concerns, there are technical glitches, there are challenges, but they can be overcome over a period of time. I told you about this Android and Google, Android and Apple. Right now, there is a problem between Android and Apple, but now Android and Apple both cooperate. They both are cooperating. Both Google and Apple are cooperating with each other to go for the contact tracing. So when the most capitalist these MNCs, when they are trying for this kind of solutions, then the individuals also should cooperate with the government. Even in this case, also, no, I don't want to share my details. Why I should share my details? Why I should cooperate with the government? Then, if that's the case, then in the coming days ahead, be ready to face the heat, because nobody wants to. At the end of the day, nobody wants to cost the lives of the individual at the cost of the individual's privacy. So with that, we can conclude this particular Aarogya Setu talk. That means what exactly Aarogya Setu, what are its things. So I hope I gave some clarity about it. So if you have any questions, then you can ask. Actually, I thought to go for the next topic, that COVID-19, the non-traditional security threat. But as of now, we don't have sufficient time. So in the next coming class, we can discuss that. Okay. Meanwhile, for others, see, for tomorrow, we have exam. Examination will be conducted at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The examination will be conducted. Examination will be of 50 marks. So in that, mostly the questions will be of current affairs. See, current affairs means do not expect that only from these given 4 topics I will be asking the questions. From these given 4 concepts, along with that, we will be asking some questions from the daily newspaper, because we are posting the newspaper every day. Read some basic information. Tonight, mostly by today's afternoon or by evening, we will try to post some 10 more extra topics. You can read those topics also. So these topics, along with the topics we discussed in the recent past, I think this is the 4th topic we discussed. Today is Friday. Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So today is the 4th day, I feel. So these 4, along with that, some topics that we will be posting by evening mostly. Read for those topics. So from this current affairs, along with that, and your respect, suppose for intermediate guys, we have guys and girls, we have this polity. and basics of economy, I think. So on the given topics that were covered in the for a week, we will be conducting the examination. Sir, if same Android not there, then app won't work. As of now, it won't work. But in the coming days ahead, at least from the month of May, it will work. I told you the Google Apple coordination. Okay, when Manaswini, when apps like Zoom is taking care of personal data, yes, that is true. But here, one wrong doesn't make the other wrong right. Privacy concern should be considered, but at the same time, but in this case, this is a crisis situation. Cooperation with the government is very important for us. True. What about the people who doesn't have phones? See, as of now, I don't think people, on an average, most of the people are having phones right now. Yes, we can. And see, if I got to know all the people who got the mobile phones, then I can easily screen out who are the people who doesn't have the phones. Because on an average, right now, we have more than 700 million 700 600 million population coming access with the phones. If you include basic phones, feature phones, and smartphones. So smartphones, I don't think, because and again, see, it doesn't mean that government will be depending solely on Aarogya Setu, right? Government will be taking other measures also. So don't think that I told you initially, Aarogya Setu is not a panacea. Aarogya Setu alone will not provide the whole final solution. Aarogya Setu is one of the solutions to prevent the spread of the disease. That's it. So if the government is not able to trace the individuals with the mobiles, then government will come up with alternative measures for that. Then it's easy for the government to screen, because right now the data is there. If government can simply take the SIM data. If it after that, who are the people who doesn't have that, it can easily screen the individuals. So it's easy for the government. See, privacy, I told you, privacy concerns are there, but initially government cannot come up with these kind of things. Initially, government is testing voluntarily. I told you, countries like South Korea, they went very to such an extent to take the data. But government initially, we know, if the government comes up with these kind of laws in these days, it needs to function first. It needs to set up the parliament. It needs to set the parliament function first. Everything has to come at the same time. After that, proceed. Passing a law is not an easy thing, right? At the same time, scrutiny has to happen. Along with after that, some people may file a case against it. There will be a lot many things will happen. So it's not easy. Like, okay, in the coming days, if things are not working right now, implement coming up with the statute provision might be a solution. Who knows? Yeah, tomorrow's examination will be objective, no descriptive. All 50 marks, 100 marks, 50 questions. Remember, so it's for both Rajahmundry and Shamshabad campus students. So we will be having negative marking. So be careful while writing the exam. We can pass the ordinance, we can do, but before doing that, government will be allowing the people to go for voluntarily. If not, then ordinance passing is the way. No doubt. That's what I'm saying. Government will pass the ordinance. That is for sure. If our information is hacked, yes, there is that possibility also. But as of now, because they are, it's not like government is such a weak, right? That's why government is not doing alone here. Government is cooperating with the private entities. Government is taking the help of the private entities to keep this information. At the same time, the information is being stored in your mobile phone. So you have to keep your mobile phone safe. So you should not download unwanted information in your mobile phone. So that is not the responsibility of the government. If you are downloading all unwanted information, then definitely your mobile data will be hacked. So you should keep you should also be careful. So criminals will be, see, criminals are hacking more information from the individuals, not from the government. So remember this point. So we are the ones who are giving more information to the hackers than the government. They are, see, again, they are coming up with, see, Apple, do you think they will compromise in such a way? They will come up with a clear guidelines. They will first take the concern of the individual. Everything will go in a proper procedural manner. Person gives wrong information to the app, no, they won't trace. This individual is a fool then. If I'm giving false information, but for whose sake I'm giving this? Am I playing with the government? If I play with the government, at the end of the day, I will be at the losing end, right? So if I'm the individual who is giving false information just to play with the government, if I'm playing with the government, means I'm playing with myself. So that's very simple point. Vaccine. See, vaccine, not only Harvard University, even in Germany, different, even in parts of China, even in China, vaccine, they are trying. See, vaccine, if it has to be implemented on a universal basis, it has to be tested multiple times. Vaccine, coming up with a vaccine, that too, this kind of RNA virus. This virus is RNA virus. RNA virus is very unstable. At the same time, to this kind of virus, if you have to come up with a vaccine, the vaccine should be tested in such a way that it should not, because once you implement in a mass scale, see, you're giving medicine to the individuals. When you're giving medicine to the individuals, how much careful you should be. That too, here you're giving in a mass scale. In a mass scale, we are giving the medicine to the, we will be giving the medicine to the individual. So trials are going on. That's what I'm saying. Curative measures are going on right now. But until that comes, we can't wait. So we have to take both preventive measures and curative measures. Right? So with that, I'm running out of time. I have to attend one more session. So I will be ending the live stream now. We will be coming back again on Monday. Till then, tata, bye bye. See you again.